Another fantastic game, short and sweet. A fantastic match. Northwest has been very good to us over the last 3 days for Dundalk fans. Well, no hesitation on this. We're going to get straight stuck into the business. Steph McKevitt, how are we after that one?
Yeah, very good after that. Done the business, got the 3 points, and straight down the road.
It's we kind of said, we were talking last Friday night and we were saying, not that it was a shock win on Friday night. We kind of talked about, we would have took a draw. Like most people would have said 4 points over the next 2 games would have been, you would have probably chewed your hand off. But the result of Friday night, we did say that could set up something. Now we can talk about the performance of the game and the actual game tonight, but the result itself, it leaves us in a it's, I don't want to get on your level of positivity, but it's only when you look at the table properly and you see the game in hand and what we've scraped in with the results tonight with Rovers and Derry, we're in a nice wee position with especially the game coming up, Pats, on Friday night.
Yeah, come on over to the good side, Gavin. Yeah. You have to have a bit of positivity. Look, positivity breeds some good vibes as well. So
yeah,
I thought, look, you fully deserve the win in the Ryan McBride Stadium, and look, we just knew after winning that we had to go up there and just get the result. It didn't matter if we played well, and then all the results have panned out our way. Just Drogheda picking up the win against Rovers, and then Sligo getting a late winner as well at home to Derry. Like it literally couldn't have worked out any better. So, it was just vitally important that we got the 3 points, I suppose, and it might have been a bit of a scrappy goal and a bit of a scrappy game, but we don't care once we got the win.
Yes, I think it's one of them games that I can't even remember all of our predictions, but I obviously got overhyped after last Friday night and predicted 3-1. Like, I'll take a 1-0 like that pretty much any night of the week. You're all right, Steph.
Hang on 2 seconds. I have to just shit here. You will carry it for a second.
I'll carry the can, don't worry. Yeah, so a 1-0 victory is, against the likes of a Finn Harps. Cheers, Alan. We spoke about it last Friday night. I would have been very optimistic about absolutely pasting Finn Harps tonight. But even that kind of result, even that kind of win, it's one of them games that, a lot of people go to Finn Harps expecting a tough outlet, a tough game, and they definitely got it. But I don't think, if we're talking about the performance, obviously I'm talking to myself here, I'm preaching to the choir here, talking to these boys, Jason Kelly as well. But it's not a great game. Let's be honest. It's not a fantastic match. And just when I see the comments coming in, it's a Monday night, so we won't be doing a pizza tonight. But keep your man of the match coming in. We'll keep him for another one. But on Monday night, generally we don't do it. It's a nice quick podcast. I totally agree, Gav. It's, I said last week that even to the boys, I wasn't on the show the week before. I said if we can get 4 points, like even one win over the 2 would have done it. But to go and beat the likes of Derry, who seem to, Derry are kind of showing that top of the table pressure, it just isn't for everybody. It's maybe why, the likes of Dundalk, Cork, Shamrock Rovers have been there and thereabouts over the last decade. Pat's dotted in as well. But, pressure, maybe it's gotten to them a little bit early. I'm surprised. I kind of had them. I know I'm not going to hide from it that I said that I thought that absolutely whitewashed the league this season. But to have that kind of angle, we've also got a game in hand. So if anybody hasn't seen the table, we've got a game in hand. A lot of teams have played 18 around us, so it's an ideal spot to come into Friday night to play Pats. But if you're looking at it from a Derry point of view, it's an absolute nightmare of a night. And Rovers as well. So if you haven't seen the results, Rovers are beaten and heading to Game Park as well. But yeah, Gav, totally agree. Friday night now is, I said it a couple of weeks ago, I think we played Shelbourne, I think it was. And I thought that was a massive game because, the Damien Duff factor and things like that. And we can talk about his attitude. But I think Friday night now could be, especially with the break coming up. We've got a 2-week break coming up. So the likes of, if you haven't been up in a couple of weeks, I know there's plenty of fans have been traveling to away games and stuff like that, but Friday night is the night now to get up and really absolutely pack it out because, Derry look to be on the slide. I mean, I know Sligo Rovers have had Liam Buckley's gone over the weekend. You never want to play a team that's lost their manager, but Sligo's have absolutely pulled something out of the bag tonight. Chris, good evening.
How are you?
Yeah, just talking about Sligo, just absolutely pulling one out of the bag there. It's been a cracking night. It hasn't been a great game, but it's been an absolute savage night for us for results wise. I know you were heading to Game Park. We can talk about that as well, but
yeah,
it's a cracking night, isn't it?
Yeah, I had a quick scan of the results before doing the post-match interviews there, and I was like, wow, this really couldn't have gone any better for us. Yeah,
it literally couldn't have. It literally could not have gone any better for us.
Yeah, I mean, look, I could see the first half highlights of our game. It looked, I suppose, kind of scratchy enough from what I could see. The goal itself was scrappy. From Kelly, it seemed to, like, I watched it on the replay anyway, which always takes an eternity, but it just looked like he hit it, and then there's just a melee in the box, and then somehow it's in the back of the net, and it's like a ricochet off everything on its way through. But on a Monday night, you'll gladly take a goal like that, and you're coming away with a clean sheet again. Haven't too many clean sheets in a while, so that's good for Nathan Shepherd as well. Whether if it's anything like the downpour we got here, and just before the first half, in Drogheda was absolutely atrocious, to the point where I started doing a count of the number of slips of players, and I got to 12 in the first half already. So, and I can only imagine what it would have been like in Ballybuffet tonight, if that's a heavy surface then as well. It doesn't really lend itself to any fluid sort of football. So, yeah, I'll come here. If you offered me, I think I put in 2-1 tonight. I was thinking like a 1-goal victory was going to be ideal tonight. Look, and that's what we got. Like you say, you look at the other results that happened tonight, and you just say we're sitting pretty in a real good position. All the other teams around us have kind of stumbled somewhat. Derry, well, it's not really a stumble anymore.
That's what I was just saying. I was just saying when I was absolutely talking to myself. It was just me, Gav, Alan Gaon, and Alan McCrave. I was saying, it just goes to show, it's proven how difficult the league is to win. So, over the last decade, we've had Rovers, ourselves, Cork. I know we've had Pats in there as well. But, top of the table, it just isn't for everybody. Maybe that pressure just, I'm not saying they won't come back into it. But I mean, that kind of pressure maybe just gotten to them a little bit earlier than they expected, is it?
I think, we said this before about Stephen Kenny's first year, the year we came second. The expectations were so low on that team because we'd just come out of a relegation playoff the previous year with Darius. And I think you looked at the squad that Stephen had put together then, and everyone had us written off as, they're not going to be anywhere in that end of the table. That's for certain. You're probably back where we were last year. Yeah. Derry, because of, I suppose, the input of money that happened and everything else, and then you think the caliber of player that he was able to attract there, actually the expectations just got ramped right the way up. And I wonder if that's part of this as well, because if this was a normal kind of Derry team, we'd say bit of a stumble there, but sure, bar Shamrock Rovers, who's got a team who has a strong enough bench to compete with a number of suspensions, injuries, very little. But you're kind of looking at this Derry team and saying, well, actually, you do have the personnel up there for that. You've bought up some of the best players around the league, so you should be able to compete at all levels, and that brings its own crutch to kind of beat you with from time to time. I feel that's kind of where Derry are right now, that they're the level of expectations on them during a hard patch is probably hard for them to ride through right now. But we'll take it because it just gives us an opportunity to get closer in a season where we were just looking for stability. It's kind of presenting an opportunity for us to really have a go at this European spot. And I think, fair play to Skip and the players because they're digging in. Isn't it the old cliche? Yeah, but can you do it on a rainy night in Ballybuffet on a Monday? And that's what we had tonight, and we pulled that out of the bag. And I'm only going to just, I'll bring this up because you kind of said, I was here and heading to Game Park, because Shamrock Rovers lads were extremely poor tonight. I don't think they had a shot on target in the second half. They got a player sent off. Mandrew got sent off tonight. Jack Byrne limped off early in the first half. He had to take
that, yeah.
Richie Towell off because Richie Towell was going to put a 2-footed challenge in right in front of us, and Gary Deegan was going for him. And very quickly after that, he got subbed off.
He probably asked to be subbed off after tackling Gary Deegan.
Yeah. I don't think it was Gary who he tackled, but Gary was straight over anyway. From it. So, on a hard night like that, even Rovers stumbled tonight. So it really just puts into perspective. Sometimes it doesn't matter. Probably Steph, you know better than this than anyone. Sometimes it doesn't matter how good you play. If you just pull the result out, sometimes that's enough, isn't it?
Yeah, look, if we had played amazing tonight and the game ends up 0-0 or 1-1, everyone would be so downhearted. But I said at the start of the show, look, it's the result that really mattered tonight. Just keep the momentum going, keep the win, and then when you've seen the other results coming in, then as well, it was it's like a bonus as well on top of everything. So Derry have continued their poor form, and all the losses and draws are magnified now that they're considered a title challenger now, because any little slip up at all is just, people are saying, oh, maybe they're not good enough, maybe it's too early for them, and they'd be questioned. And some of them players they mightn't be used to that, the pressure of winning. Like when you come to Oriel Park, there's an immediate pressure there. Fans expect the team to be winning and winning games in Oriel Park, and look, some players are cut out for it and other players won't be. But thankfully so far, Stevie's brought in the right characters, and they're just dealing with everything perfectly. Maybe we've gone under the radar a little bit, and we've just built up this momentum and will to win. And look, we've a good core down the middle, strong players, senior players, and then obviously Shepherd is playing out of his skin, and he's just grown from strength to strength. Same with Sloggett. I think he's really,
Sloggett's been standing.
He's become a real leader in the team, and I was a bit worried he got taken off about 60 minutes, was it? Seemed to be a bit of an injury, but look, hopefully he's all right, and I'm sure he'll be chomping at the bit to play on Friday night. And look, we don't need to say too much for the players to get lifted for Friday, and I hope there's a bumper crowd up there and up on Friday night to support the team.
Yeah, lads, it's probably one of the nights we're more kind of, it's going to be one of them podcasts that we're more concentrating on the result rather than the actual game, because there's been a couple of half chances in the first half, a couple of blazes over the bar, but there hasn't really, apart from you're talking about the goal, and then the outstanding moment is Shep's save. But we're probably more concentrating on the result now tonight, because we can't stress enough. The results have just fallen our way, and the game coming up on Pats on Friday night. I think we went through the fixture. I can't remember who have Sligo got Rovers. Is that right, Steph? No, did we say that earlier on?
No, Rovers are home to Shells.
Oh, Shells, sorry. So we could have another night Friday, provided we do. All we can do is concentrate on our own results. But it's looking like I don't want to say we're in the mix, but we're definitely going to put a spanner in the works, because we got that game in hand. We're 8 points off. If we beat Sligo, if we beat Pats, we're 6 points clear of them. And we're off for 2 weeks. It's probably what we were saying off air just before we come on. It's probably the worst time to take a 2-week break if we can turn it over on Friday night as well. But it's looking, I seen somebody reference the 94-95 season. And Chris, you were talking about early Kenny doors as well. But it's looking like, we might be getting a little rub of the green after an absolute disaster of a season last season, aren't we?
Yeah, and I think even at the start of the year, we were struggling. We how many draws? We had 2-3 draws at the very start. I'm thinking Bowes, Derry, and we're thinking, God, are we going to win them seasons where we got to make sure we score enough goals, because are we going to be leaky at the back? But that settled down so quickly, and I think that's part of it. And you just mentioned it there. Players like Sloggett kind of stepped up, and not that there was question marks around Sloggett, Dickie Kelly and all that, but we knew there was even another level there for these guys. And I think, especially over the past while, I'm thinking in particular with Dan Kelly, with the one thing we wanted from him was to be able to score more goals and get into situations where he could score more goals. And by Jesus, has he done that this year? You know, at a time where we had lost Michael Duffy, we had lost Fats. You know, we were thinking of where these goals could come from the middle of the park, and clipping in from the wing, who could supply those goals. And we were saying, you know, Dan Kelly had so long to nail that down, and he never really nailed his place. But I'll tell you what, he's really, you know, he's been outstanding this year. His contribution,
and he's missed an
from
early
goals
chance
and
as well.
assists.
Yeah.
Well, that says a lot. Yeah, so like, you know, I think there's that in him sometimes, that he can miss these opportunities. But if he picked himself back up and had another goal later on, and that ends up being the goal, like, it shows a test of his character for this year. Because I think in other years, if he missed that glorious opportunity, his head would have gone down. And that doesn't seem to be happening this year with him at all.
Yeah, it must be like a mentality thing as well. Like, I don't know the previous years, but you know, he must be just giving the world the confidence from the manager to say, look, just keep going, keep taking the chances, keep having the shots, and you know, because it, like you said, Chris, it doesn't seem to put him off. He keeps going, and like, look, it might take him 3 or 4 attempts to score, but then look, if he gets the winner and a 1-0 win, you can't fault him for that. I think just looking back on the replay of the goal, I think if it hadn't have gone in, it would have been a handball and penalty, and probably a red card. So I know that was the only deflection I seen on it. It was a shot across the keeper, and keeper was getting nowhere near it, and you know, it goes in anyway. So we'll take it all day.
Yeah, I think the lads on the comms, or I know a lot of people are slagging off as a scrappy goal. It's just one of them. I mean, like, if the guy's not in the way of it, it goes straight in. So, scrappy, I don't know. Probably hard fought, maybe, is probably the best way of putting it. But not to dwell on it, and not to we'll just mention Dickie Kelly earlier on. I know Chris kind of alluded, he kind of stepped on my question there. We're talking about him, but he's come. I know I for one kind of thought last year, I don't know if he'll sign this season. I don't know if he'll be, you know, I don't know what, you know, the new manager was looking for. I didn't think, not that he didn't merit it, but it just seemed to be, he seemed to be very wasteful on the wing with cross and stuff like that. But now he kind of seems to be that forward attacking into the box player that we've been looking for, that kind of pace along with Hoban, hasn't he?
Yeah, and again, it might be a thing where he knows he's probably going to start 9 times out of 10. Yeah. He's going to, unless he's going to get a rest. Like, so maybe that's settling him a wee bit more. Well, you know, some weeks if you're training and it's in the back of your head, oh, look, I'm doing well in training here, but I might not start. You know, that can put a bit of dent in you as well. So maybe he's more relaxed now that he knows he'll be starting and he's produced the goods. So you can't be taking him out of the team like the assists and goals are just speaking for themselves. Like, so maybe he's riding the crest of a wave, and the whole team seems to be going forward for that as well.
Yeah, I just seen a great comment there from Frank as well. Like, we forget that obviously because the season we had last year, we're not in Europe this year, but like that all plays into a factor over the next couple of weeks and months. I think, is it the 14th of June? Is that, or the 4th of June? There's a draw coming up. Is that sort of kicking off in the early July? Is it for overs? So that could play, not play into our hands, but that could give us that little bit of advantage where teams will come to the league for their league matches and they're completely, because we know the league aren't great at organising games at a distance. They like to pack all the European matches in and the games all of the one day. But you know, that could play into our hands going forward, especially if we can get another big result on Friday night.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with the European football, and we said this before. The fact that we're not in the competition this year should give us a little bit extra focus maybe on the league. The European teams all had, you know, just paid an extra round of fixtures to free them up in July. And then, you know, the FAI only ever schedule for the first round. Then after that, you could be playing, you know, Thursday, Sunday, or a Monday match again, and then trying to prep for your second round of your European match. So they come thick and fast. And I think we said it at the very start, that if you can just hang on the coattails of them their schedules are going to get a lot busier than ours.
Yeah.
And with, you know, you don't know what way travel and distance could be as well, and when the draws are done. So like all of that could play very much into our hands. But look, I think right now I'd just be happy just to be in the mix, just to be there or thereabouts, because I really didn't think we would be that close to the main contenders this year. So it's definitely a surprise.
Well, Steph did. Steph definitely thought. I did. I thought he was off his rocker, but he definitely did call it. Yeah. And we were talking before how Steph, you were saying about the draws. We've the same amount of draws with Bows. It's a frightening amount at 7, isn't it? Like, if only you could kind of turn one or two of them, the likes of the UCD result. You know, obviously, look at that. It's bygones now, but it would, if you could grab another couple of points from them results, you know, or 5, 6 points off.
Yeah, look, it's one of them things, but I'm sure, like, Rovers could be looking back and going, do you know what, if we had a nick the draw against Drogheda tonight, do you know, Derry will be thinking the same. If we had held on to a draw tonight in Sligo, or if we had scored that goal against us in Oriel Park, like, you can go back. It is sort of frustrating, even us with UCD, like, you're thinking we were 2-0 up even though we were a man down, you know, see the game out. They're bottom of the league. Like, it's, you know, you'd probably drive yourself insane if you kept going back over results like that. But just looking at the form table, and we had a quick look at it just ourselves before we come on, and we're sitting top of the form table in the last 5 games, just the UCD draw and then 4 wins. Do you know what I mean? So Rovers are second in that, and then, like, Shells have picked up 4 wins on the bounce ever since Duff got the suspension. They turned the form right round, and they picked up 3 wins in a row, and then they've won tonight again. So, look, that'll be no gimme for Rovers to get 3 points, especially it'll be in the back of the heads now to draw the result. So, okay, I think anything could happen in that game, and we just need to do our own business right. And then, you know, what's coming up to, like you said, it's coming up to Europe, but then we've one eye on a couple of the players that might possibly be going back. And, you know, I'm sure, I'm hoping Stevie has players of similar caliber or even a higher standard to come in, and, you know, he could be dangling a title challenge carrot in front of a couple of people's faces that, you know, he didn't think he might have, and it might entice a few more players to come from possibly UK, or I'm not sure, like England or Scotland or something, maybe outside the league.
Yeah,
come in and do a similar job to what the players have done. But look, you wouldn't like to lose any of the players we have at the minute, because the performance levels have been excellent. And like we said, I think this team is growing the whole time and just seem to be getting better and better. I'm just glad that, look, Shepherd's on a transfer in instead of a loan deal, because I think Brentford definitely would have been. Brentford B or whatever would have been calling him back, as his performance has been outstanding. So, you know, it is a bit of a worry, but look, hopefully can get sorted out by the club.
When you think about it, though, Williams is, you know, returned to his club with the injury. You think that's probably freed up a spot for somebody in the next window to bring in anyway. So there will be some sort.
He must be going across to Mary McAleese Bridge.
Darius in the window again.
I think was Williams not a loan deal till November? I thought he heard him till November. I know he's gone back, but maybe he's just gone back for treatment. And
I don't know actually. I think it's in the car. Once, if he's that kind of injured, I think he has to go back anyways. I think that's the way it works generally. So maybe you might see him again. Yeah, I think just on the transfers, I think, you know, not to go too far ahead, but if we were probably short of 1 or 2 players anyway. But do you think now